Hi and welcome back to another episode of Geekified. This is the second time we're coming back to this because we all just love it and it's just a show to talk about. It's been in the press today currently that is the biggest hit that Amazon has ever had, so much that it was greenlit before the first episode even came out. And we've seen some stats today talking about the fact that it is almost number one. It is beating Netflix shows and is almost number one, including all the Netflix shows. That's huge. We are back with The Boys. So we have seen all the way up to the last episode, which just came out on the previous Friday there. That's episode 7. So we've only got one episode to go. So I thought this would be a good episode where we could get some of us together to have a little discussion over what we think is going to happen and obviously what you guys think is going to happen. Stick it in the comments and have a wee chat about it. So I have literally just finished watching it. That's on repeat in the back wall there.
Wow.
And I had a lot of very interesting moments at the end, including her, that you've just seen there.
Yep.
So obviously there's a spoiler warning for this because we're going to be talking about absolutely everything that happened in season 1 and all the way up to episode 7 and season 2. So if you don't want that, off you pop and come back later. But I've just watched heads just pop everywhere. What's going on?
Hashtag red wedding scene.
Hashtag setup.
Yeah.
That was, do you know what? It was such a good episode. I really, really enjoyed the episode. It was so much build-up. It was a great, with John Noble coming in and playing Billy Butcher's dad, which was fantastic. He's a great actor. Absolutely loved him in Fringe. Fringe was brilliant. Mm-hmm. But getting to see him appear as a dad was quite an interesting turn because obviously it shows a little bit of the human side of Billy.
I think we've been seeing that through this season, haven't we, a bit?
Yeah.
With the dog, which obviously is a massive part of the comic, but it's only just come into this, and then obviously the auntie as well.
Yeah.
And the mother and the father now as well, so.
Yeah. I think it's good to get, because he was always talking about why he's doing it, but we've never really seen his motives and his moral issues. But now we actually got to see it played out. So now it's kind of a bit of getting that backstory now, which is good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think like everything we've seen of Billy, even in season 1, obviously the whole point of getting up to Billy, his perspective, he was just this absolutely kind of brutal, doesn't take any shit kind of guy who's going to go out and get things done. And over this season, we're starting to find the human side of him. And development with other characters up until now, obviously, there was a massive development a few episodes ago with him and Starlight. I thought that was quite interesting of how, I think it was a scene at the car where she flings a guy and kills him. Yeah. And for a minute, I think that's the first time that she realised that she's quite powerful. She's almost godlike to a certain degree. And he obviously has known that situation by doing that sort of thing previously and his life being what he's worked for and what he's done. Mm-hmm. So I think that was quite an emotional touch getting those two together. And I thought it was quite a nice wee scene when the two of them, when Annie and what's his name, Huey, met in the hall. Mm. I genuinely thought, I was like, oh, we're going to get a nice kind of wee romantic scene. Yeah. And then that didn't happen. It's been constantly hinted at for the season. It was brilliant.
It was quite similar to that season scene in the first season. The first time when they meet in the park, like accidentally, and then they meet when he's pretending to be a cameraman. It's a very similar sort of way they shot it, like them coming across each other and coming into the same room together. It was just quite a sort of bit of a mirroring of that. Obviously, they're further down the road of the story and they understand what each other can do. But I thought it was quite interesting. It felt very similar.
Yeah. So let's just skip right to the end. I want to talk about what happened at the end. There's a lot we can talk about of what we've seen so far in this season and we can go over it, but what's going on? Obviously, we know that it's a young head poppy woman that's involved here. We know that it's her. So we know what she's done. But then, so my other question is, do you remember Jennifer Esposito turned up for one episode as the head of the CIA?
Yeah.
Yeah, her head popped, and that girl wasn't out.
Yep.
So who do we have?
It's the kid.
Do you think so?
It's set up. It's for Homelander and Stormfront to further, because obviously the whole what's about to happen is they're about to get basically shown up for doing all these bad things. They get that used to be in charge, the guy in the wheelchair, forgetting the character's name now.
Nobleman, I think it was.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So they're about to get sort of called out, and then suddenly, just at that point, the heads start popping. But you've seen Homelander and Stormfront fly off with a kid, and you know that the kid's got the same powers as Homelander, if not more powerful than Homelander. So I think he can pretty much do anything. I think the kid's done it.
Well, the surprising thing about me, though, in that scene, though, it seemed as if Stormfront and Outlander didn't know what was going on. They were just looking around. They looked surprised.
I think they knew.
Really?
Because, Homelander. Right, Homelander, given the fact that he's an absolute dick, and we all know it, he still knows that some people can kill him. That's the thing. He still knows he's not, like, almighty. I think he knows he's vulnerable to a certain degree. But I think that if it wasn't a setup and he didn't know, he would have been out of there like a shot. He would protect himself. He just looks after number one, which is him. And I don't think he would have even looked back at Stormfront. Yeah. I think he would have just went away.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a setup, but I don't think it's what Nathan said. I'm going to go over it's someone else. And it's not the girl from the prison, lady. And because it has to be somebody who's been following them or been with them because of Jennifer Esposito's character.
Yeah, that needs, so it has to be someone within, but then we don't know the power, like whoever's doing it, can they do it through watching a video, like television program, or do they need to be within like a radius to do it?
Yeah, I would assume it has to be some sort of radius, but it's certainly a thing. They've seen, because they've clearly used this more than once.
Yeah.
Because that girl, I'm assuming that young girl she would have been in the prison in Sage at that time of when Jennifer Esposito's head popped.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the kid would have been with his mum. So it's leaving someone else. I think we're going to get quite the surprise at the end of this, I think. And
probably like well, going back to that then, it was more than I seen Outlander, Homelander more surprised. But so maybe it's Stormfront's doing. Yeah. Because being at the hospital, she knows I can go, I've got a job for you, but I'm not telling Homelander yet. So Homelander, to me, looked shocked. Or not shocked, he's quite cool because he's been in those situations before. But he seemed, okay, what the hell's going on?
It seemed like it was very sort of directed at certain people as well, because obviously that's the young senator who's quite anti-superheroes. They purposely they had ample opportunity to kill her, and they didn't, which I thought was quite interesting. So obviously that's the sort of way of, turning her, sort of showing that they're still, powerful and important. I think it's definitely not just a random thing happening. It's definitely some sort of setup.
Yeah.
I would say they're probably wanting that senator on their side.
No.
I think that's probably a threat.
Yeah, they'll probably go, if not, you're...
Yeah. So I'm really, really interested for next week's episode. Really interested. So what do we think about what's going to happen with Maeve, Queen Maeve, after the whole Almond Joy incident?
What do you mean when she killed Simon Pegg?
What? No!
It's very strange from a Queen Maeve because it's almost like.
But it's not. But no, sorry, but he's not dead though. We don't know if he's dead. It's just not allergy,
We joke for you.
Yeah.
I think I was just quite interested in Queen Maeve because you sort of had this idea of sort of vulnerability with her through the first season as well, and she does help Annie/Starlight in that season as well. So I don't know. It's very interesting to see what they, because I think the only reason she's still in the Seven is because she's trying to protect her girlfriend.
Yeah.
And just whether, and that doesn't matter. So what does she? It's interesting whether she, does she stay in the Seven and sort of work from the inside, or whether that's what sort of suggested. Because Starlight says to her, "Come with me," and she says, "No, I'm going to stay here."
Yeah. I think there's going to be a big, massive fight-off between Stormfront and her. This is my theory, again, sorry. And then I think Queen Maeve is going to get close to killing Stormfront, and then Homelander will kill Queen Maeve to save Stormfront.
I think it's quite interesting because the only cast that have definitely been announced for season 3 is the guy that's going to play Soldier Boy. They haven't announced any of the other actors, whether they're coming back, whether what's happening. So, and because it's veered so far from the story in the comics now, they can basically kill off anybody or do anything.
Yeah, I'm lost now. Like everything that was in my head of where we were going to go at that point of the start of the season, I thought, right, we're going to get to the Homelander reveal by the time we get to the end of the season. Clearly, we're not. We're going to get to a little bit more about Stormfront. We're not following Stormfront's story. We're obviously it's so different, but it's great because I think there's a couple of shows, The Walking Dead, that really, really fell into that problem. Their issue was solely the fact that they followed everything to a T, apart from maybe a few random kills where it was slightly off. Yep. So The Walking Dead was one of the biggest comics on the planet. It was huge. So you had everybody, all these people watching it, and it just grew stale because we knew what was going to happen. These guys have got it absolutely bang on. They're keeping anyone who's ever read it still on their toes, and they've created a whole new world of fans by keep having something that's completely fresh. So I think, hats off to them. What they're doing with it is tremendous.
Mm-hmm. No, it's quite difficult as well because there's so many, a show like this, effectively you've got about 15 main characters, 16 main characters in it, and they managed to keep them all interesting, and you're interested in all of them. There's very few main characters in it. You think, I don't really care about them that much, or I don't want to know anything about them. You sort of thought about Deep in the first season, but then in this season he's sort of come into his own as this guy that's lost his mind a bit, and all these strange things are happening.
I really, really love the story they're developing with the Church of the Collective.
Yeah, who are they? They seem more powerful than Vought to me.
I wouldn't say they're more powerful.
No.
I think they are becoming more powerful.
Yeah, it's like...
What's this kind of Fresca thing all about?
I think we're going to find out a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
It's too everywhere.
Too obvious.
Yeah, where you go, you get Fresca.
You got your can of... Yeah.
You like a Fresca. Everywhere. It's brilliant. It's really, really... But it's not done too much in your face.
Is that just a sort of making fun of the superhero films with all this product placement? Is that all? That could be as simple as that.
I doubt it. I think it's plugged too highly. I think if you were going to do product placement, you would have it more subtle in the back.
Yeah.
You could have had big.
Maybe they're just doing it as a piss take, as it were. Pardon my French.
Unless we're really missing a trick, and over in America, Fresca's like a really popular pop.
I think it is, but it's always, the can's always very obvious. And it's always at the point when they're getting sort of brought into the Collective, the bit when A-Train and that sort of reception as A-Train comes in and the Deep comes over, and at that point, the end of the scene is, would you want a Fresca? And it like closes up on the can, and you're just like, what's it got to do with anything?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I think I do. It does scream a bit too much San Pellegrino to me. It looks almost the same, the shape and the colouring and all that. It's quite good. But so, what do we think is going to happen in this last episode? Right? What's our summaries?
I think at least one of the 7's going to die.
Yeah.
I think it might. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
I think
Queen Maeve then.
I don't think it'd be Queen Maeve. I don't. This may be completely out of left field, and I'm not saying this is my theory, but it wouldn't surprise me if they end up killing off Homelander. I would not surprise me, because in this season he's such an integral. They play to him a lot more in this season. You see a lot more other parts of him. You can see that he's slowly losing his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then this thing, Stormfront as well. I would not surprise me if something happens.
Yeah. That would literally keep me on toes to watch season 3 straight away.
Mm.
But then again, that would tick off the whole clone thing from the comic books, because then we think he's dead.
Maybe Homelander,
and then we get a new Homelander, but it's the same person. So they've ticked off that whole clone thing.
There's something going to happen with Homelander, definitely. I think.
Love that, Nathan.
Yeah.
Love that.
My theory is, I think that Homelander is going to kill all the 7.
Yeah.
All of them.
I think you see. I think there's that, like we were talking about before, Chris. That bit, the scene when you see him like lasering the crowd, and then you don't realize at the start it's a dream, and then that's like an imagination, and it is. I think something like that's going to happen, he's going to do, because he's slowly unraveling.
Yeah.
And something's going to happen with him, I think, definitely.
I think one by one, he's going to go round, he's going to take out all the 7. He's going to take out Black Noir, Queen Maeve, he's going to take out A-Train, he's going to take every single one of them out and rebuild the 7 for the next season. And I think Billy is going to be, and I think Starlight's going to be part of that as well. I think Starlight is going to
really?
Yeah.
And then that'll really...
And that really changes the dynamic of the show, because Starlight is practically one of the boys now.
So
that's the thing, yeah.
Does Head Poppy Girl become one as well?
Who?
Does Head Poppy Girl become one?
Possibly, yeah, because she's floating about, isn't she?
What about Love Sausage?
I'll bring Love Sausage back. Apparently there was a scene that was cut. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
No.
There was another scene with Love Sausage that was cut because I think it was too vulgar.
Yeah.
All right. It was too vulgar.
Yeah.
How bad must it have been?
I know.
It must have been horrendous.
Yeah. Apparently the actor got confused because his agent phoned him up and went, "Oh, I've got a really meaty role for you." He said, "Oh, excellent, I'll go for it."
Certainly did, didn't he? Imagine being that called. Really.
I really liked it. I was really surprised when Lamplighter died.
Yeah.
He's quite a well-known actor, you know. I forget his name.
Sean.
No, Dominic Monaghan. No.
No, that's not him.
He did it one.
Man.
Yeah, whatever his name is anyway. Lamplighter. I was really surprised when he died, because he's only in it for about 2-3 episodes, and he's quite a cool character. I love that the bit with the sort of they're putting it in terms of porn. You know, you can be the fluffer, you can be the cuck, and you can be the cuck. You're not even the cuck. You're the cuck fluffer.
The cuck fluffer. I know that was pretty good. I was like, that's pretty horrendous. I'm trying to find his name's Sean something. I'm sure. Sean Ashmore.
There he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So he obviously played Iceman in the X-Men. So obviously it's rather amusing the fact that he's playing bloody fire guys like Pyro now.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting shift in his character, even though it's almost the same thing. But,
do you think they're kind of gearing up that there's going to be a big, massive, almost superhero fight between the bad and good, that they're going to build up 2 big, massive teams?
Yeah.
That's going to end.
Well, I think there's going to be.
I think they're going to suggest that, but I don't think it'll happen.
As in, like, sort of like a Civil War / Endgame battle.
It's almost too cliched, I think.
Think so?
Yeah, I think that's not really. I think whatever happened in this program, most of it's quite sort of character driven. You know, it's not much more so than most of the other sort of superhero type things. Yeah. Even something like, you know, Umbrella Academy, or like Titans, which is still more sort of adult themed. It's much more character driven than them as well. So I think it'll all come down to, I think whenever they type however many series they manage to do, it's all going to come down to Billy Butcher against whoever the leader of the 7 is at that time, and that's going to be the sort of culmination of the whole thing.
I think we've missed quite a lot of Giancarlo Esposito. Excuse me, hiccuping.
Yeah, he's been
very quiet. I think he's going to have a wee bit to do in the last episode. I'm presuming.
Is he really a superhero? Because that's why he's not scared of Homelander.
Possibly, I know. That was one of the best scenes so far that I really enjoyed, because I think everyone was kind of shitting himself that he was just going to kill him. Yeah. I was kind of
Homelander looked almost scared, didn't he?
Yeah. Explained to him the situation, told him who's in charge and all that. And Homelander knows that the power is in the money. Yeah. He knows it's all about finance and money, because he can't get anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Homelander always knows he's going to eventually find someone as powerful as he is.
Yeah. I think he thinks he's found that in Stormfront.
Yeah.
Because they're both. Homelander has sort of become corrupted by stuff, whereas she's just corrupt to the core from the start. Obviously, when they explain, like, she was basically, you know, like a Nazi wife, basically, who got injected and became this like the first one, you know. So
technically, is she not Homelander's mum then?
Sort of. Yeah. They don't really explain how the babies get. There's a suggestion. There's a suggestion at one point in this season when Billy Butcher's wife and the kid And they say something, and it suggests that possibly that child wasn't naturally born.
They were saying that Homelander was not the normal way, but that's why they had to make him the most powerful.
Yeah.
So what do we think is going to happen with Becca?
That's an interesting one as well.
Yeah.
I think she's going to... But is it...
Is this... Becca is obviously the integral reason of why Billy Butcher is doing what he's doing. Don't get me wrong, he fucking hates Homelander and he's after Homelander for what he's done. Yeah. But she can fundamentally just come out of the situation that she's in now, no longer wanted, no longer needed by Homelander, and that can leave Billy Butcher with his wife back.
Yeah, and then clearly she's going to go to him now and go, maybe the phrase, she's got our son, even though it's not Billy Butcher's son, but...
Yeah, but Billy Butcher's already made it very clear that he's not interested in the child.
I know, but I think Billy Butcher would do anything for Becca. Yeah. Literally do anything for her.
He's risked the entire thing, the entire point of the show, just to see his wife.
Mm-hmm. So I think he will go after to go and get the kid back. I think that's going to be the next boys' mission. Mm-hmm. The group.
Still think I think there's parts in it with the bit when which is, I mean, I made me laugh when Homelander pushed the little kid off the roof. Yeah. And then they have that sort of tete-a-tete, and the kid sort of goes at Homelander a bit, and then you see it again when he flies away. The kid gets angry. It reminded me of that film Brightburn a bit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. So I've got a feeling that kid's going to become really powerful at some point, which is why I think, like I said, a theory I've got is that the kid's involved in that thing in the courtroom as well, or Senate room, whatever it is, because that Ray, he wants to be like his dad. He wants to do what his dad tells him.
Mm-hmm. So he's a naturally born superhero as well. That's what that's confident. That's a certainty. So the only person that we know with certainty to be a naturally born superhero currently is the son.
Yeah. And then you have the bit where they talk about how basically they're put in that area, and then they basically it says that they basically built a place around them and put people in there to make that kid feel like he's at home. Yeah. And they never really explain either the facility where all those people are and where Lamplighter kills them once they're no use anymore. They never really explain what the point of that facility is either.
Yeah.
They get these crazy people and inject them with Compound V and see what happens to them, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that all they were wanting was to find if they can stabilise the compound and see what type of soups they got.
Which is basically what the Nazis did in the war with, and with, you know, it's basically that. It's that again, you know.
Yeah,
because they know the Compound V works at baby level.
Yeah.
But obviously at adult level, they want to see if they can make, you know, soups when they're, and if that's the case, because some of them have proven to stabilise. It'd be interesting if one of the boys takes it and gets a superpower.
Well, I was quite interested that Noriko, the female, that you don't realise in the first season that she is actually a soup, and then you find out, obviously, with her brother, that she is actually the bit where she rips a guy's face off and then takes the guy's head off with her hands. They don't really go into what her power is, other than the fact that she's obviously really strong. But I thought that was quite interesting as well. And there's something with Frenchie. There's something not quite right about Frenchie. I know that because they got that bit with the drugs and stuff, and like this incredible guilt he's got all the time. So there's something that's not quite come out with that yet, and I wouldn't be surprised if something goes off with that in the final episode.
Chris sits quietly.
Well, you know what happens, obviously.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't. I don't want to say it because it kind of spoils if they do follow anything. But there's a couple of things that I think is going to happen that do happen in the comic that I think they will do.
I think it's quite interesting as well. I mean, none of the boys have died yet.
Yeah. So if anyone at home's read this, my interpretations, without spoiling anything, is obviously Billy looks at the camera, kind of pretty much at the end. And I think if anyone's read some of it, I think I know what's coming next. And if you've seen that bit in the comic, you know what's coming next as well. So hopefully that does. I hope that does. If anyone knows what I mean, I don't want to spoil it just in case it does come true.
mean, I'm off work this week and I'm reading all of it before Friday's episode. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Pretty certain is that there's a bit. It's almost like the panel, exactly where Billy does that kind of lean in, and I'm pretty certain shit breaks loose after that. I think, but it's been fantastic. Honestly, I've really enjoyed it.
I think it's really good that they've made it. The first season, the second season have felt very different, which I think are really, really, really clever way of making a TV show. The guys have done obviously Eric Kripke and then Seth Rogen and the hires up have done an amazing job of just developing this world. And I like the way they've developed the characters this season so much. They've gone into backstories for pretty much all the main characters now.
Yeah.
Which is a really difficult thing to do with such a big cast as well.
Yeah, like I even loved even the second season, you know, like Mother's Milk getting a much bigger role. You really got to see him, you know.
Yeah.
I loved all that. And yeah, like everyone got their place in time in this season.
I don't want to take the responsibility of noticing this, but it was Nathan that noticed this. What did you notice about Mother's Milk?
Well, the first every episode he's got a completely different T-shirt. And he wears a T-shirt for the whole episode. The first 4 episodes were all hip hop, and the second 3 episodes have all been sports teams. So I mean, it's quite cool.
Yeah,
detail.
I'm going to have a wee look because I quickly went back to season 1 and had a look to see what he was wearing, and it's almost following the same thing.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It's cool. The other thing I was saying to you before about the fact, you notice how Homelander's got that bleach blonde hair. Yeah. You notice in this season it's gradually getting darker. So the roots are coming in. Yeah. So it's not naturally blonde.
They're not. There's a reason behind that. There's no. You don't just leave
stuff like details like that. Yeah.
Multi-million-pound TV show where you'll have a makeup department. No, exactly.
I felt like Mark when I spotted that one.
Or maybe it's a different Homelander.
Well, that's the thing. Is there 5, 6, 7, 8 of them?
You know.
That's a shout, Tony.
And then the boys are going to look at old footage and go, "Wait a second, two different Homelanders," you know.
And Simon Pegg waving in the background.
Yeah. Bring them back. But yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
cannot wait.
Definitely, we've only got 1 week left. Guarantee you that we'll be back next week, probably within minutes of it being finished. Exactly 1 hour of it being released.
Yeah,
to come back here. Hopefully, we can do another review as soon as it goes up and get it out. But thank you very much for joining us again tonight, guys. And we will be back very, very shortly with another episode. And we're only 1 week away to the final, less than a week away for the final episode. What day is this? Sunday? 5 days away from the final episode of season 2 of The Boys. So we will be back next week, and when we do a wrap up of what we thought and what we think is going to happen in season 3. Because I guarantee you, everything that we've just talked about is probably going to be wrong. Given the way this show seems to go, we've probably talked a lot of crap for half an hour. Yeah. But thank you very, very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode. We can do this all day.